Today we are focusing on a different aspect of the art research, and thanks to the project U4R Differences with the alliance of the Accademia, our Accademia di Belle Arti, with the 3 universities and academies of Budapest, Dresden, Riga, we had the opportunity to reflect on artistic research from many points of view. Indeed, the artistic research topic presented multiple avenues of investigation: research for the art, research in the art, research through the arts. One of the outputs of the project Differences has been the creation of the Research Lab Care, a project between the Academy of Fine Arts of Rome and the National Institute of Nuclear Physics. Tomorrow, today and tomorrow, we will see some of the results of this joint venture, very promising indeed. Yesterday, art and research in the making have been illustrated by our colleagues in the 2 sections of the morning and in the afternoon. Research in the arts is now paralleled by research for the arts. The topic of today's speeches I am introducing now. There are 2 aspects of paramount importance in artistic research in our academy. On the one side, we are finally moving toward the recognition of the 3rd cycle in the Italian system of higher education, facing an institutional innovation. Starting with the academic year 2022-2023, the Accademia di Belle Arti di Roma offers the PhD level in the 3rd cycle and grants 2 fellowships, 1 in performative arts with the University of Rome 3 and 2 in cultural heritage with the University of Rome 2, a national PhD which has been sustained with European funds. This is a very important achievement for our students who have finally obtained the same possibility as the students of all the other universities in Italy to enter the 3rd cycle of education. The second focal point for research and PhD in the academy is the focus on new technologies for cultural heritage. In this area, specifically linked to creativity and mediation, the prospects are very promising and outline a panorama that is strongly linked to cultural identity in the European and in the national spheres. Today, we are focusing on the research for the art and in particular new media, digital, scientific, diagnostic tools to investigate the status of the artwork as well as its chemical components under drawing, structure, pigments, layers, and other technical analysis, and as well as digital analysis on the works of art. These topics imply fundamental issues related to cultural heritage, theoretical reflection, methodologies and process of our research, research for the arts, etc. Science for valorization and communication, diagnostic analysis, the representation of the creative process, virtual restoration, digitalization and cataloging of artworks from museum and public institutions for database accessible to researchers, students, and to the general public. New media and technologies for the arts and cultural heritage, VR, AR, XR, light mapping, video mapping, interdisciplinary approaches, cross-fertilization with new media, which modify the way in which the viewer is involved in looking and comprehension and comprehending the work of art. Not a traditional static approach of contemplation, but a dynamic mode where the viewer is enabled to enter the process of the making of the work of art, or recreate the original lost appearance of a fresco painting or of an archaeological site with the original monuments. Exploring new innovative ways of applying new digital media in museum education and the dissemination of cultural heritage, using design methods based on interactive experience to create a multimedia and transmedia narrative ecosystem, broadening the viewer interaction, deepening the viewer's understanding and experience of the history, stories, and emotions related to work of art, providing a sustainable methodology for the ecological development of museum in the digital age. This morning, 3 representatives of cutting-edge research in the cultural heritage will present important innovation in this field. That is Luca Tortora, Rita Bernini, Luca Tortora from the National Institute of Nuclear Physics, Rita Bernini from the Istituto Centrale per la Grafica, and Francesca Boschetti from the Vatican Museum. So I'm starting with the first speaker, Luca Tortora. Is assistant professor at Roma III University, research associate at the National Institute for Nuclear Physics, and National Research Council. He is the director of Surface Laboratory Roma III and PI at SMAC, Surface Modification and Characterization Group. Member of Italian Chemical Society, delegate for INFN Roma III in European Research Infrastructure for Heritage Science, Distretto Tecnologico Beni Culturali del Lazio, and local coordinator of Roma III Cultural Heritage Network. He gained a degree in chemistry from the University of Naples Federico II and a PhD in chemistry from the University of Roma III Tor Vergata. His research is focused on the synthesis and characterization of inorganic materials. He authored more than 70 publications with more than 1,000 citations. LT has been PI and VP leader for several local, national, and international projects in the CH field, chemistry, I believe. Member of editorial committee of indexed journals in the field of the chemistry of materials. Please welcome Luca Tortora.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank Costanza for inviting me and all the organizing committee for giving me the possibility to show you our research line. So, as Costanza said before, I'm a chemist in the world of cultural heritage field. It's not really simple to do this. Well, just 2 words to present me, just to introduce me. As Costanza said, I'm a chemist, and I'm director of this lab as Surface Lab Roma III, and I'm in principal investigator of a group. It's called SMAC, like a kiss, and the Surface Modification and Characterization. I'm director of this lab, and this lab is just a merge of 2 institutions, National Institute for Nuclear Physics and Roma III University. I'm professor of chemistry at Roma III University, but also a research at INFN. Our lab is actually involved from several years in DTC Lazio Centro di Eccellenza as a local network of the people and scientists that work in cultural heritage. And then at national level to CHNet. Cultural Heritage Network is a national network for the cultural heritage at a higher level to IRIS. IRIS is the European Research Infrastructure for Heritage Science. So, in our group and in our lab, we work starting from chemistry and physics, it's a fundamental research, moving to applied research, and we do applied research to cultural heritage. In terms, and today I will show you just a few spots on our research line. I would like not to go deep inside because it could be very boring. So, just a few spots to say what we can do. Well, it's really hard for a scientist to speak about the cultural heritage because scientists and people working in humanities, science, usually speak different language, even if they work in the same group, in the same project. And usually we aim to do something like this. It's called interdisciplinary. But it's hard because chemists, physicists, And on the other hand, art historians or archaeologists speaks different words. And it's not trivial to find a trade-off between these two words. So, first, our first aim is to use a language, a way to move data or communication in a useful way, that it's useful for scientists, but also the people or scientists that work in humanities science. Can we go? Well, so, and this is clear. If you say an archaeology or restorers or art historian working with something, an artworks, okay, it works well. But if you say a physicist or a chemist work with something related to the cultural heritage, a lot of people say, what? What you can do to protect and to serve. The title of my speech is To Protect and to Serve the Cultural Heritage. To protect and to serve is the motto of LA Police Department. And this is the idea. The idea is to protect something, but also to serve, to give a service, to help. Well, so first, to protect, it's kind of a medical stuff. So, first of all, we need a diagnostic. First of all, we should find the disease. What is the disease? To understand what is the problem, we need some scientific tools to understand what is the problem and what is the disease. And then, the next step is to give drugs, okay? Or medicine in general. So, in the science, the scientific tools are, in general, photons and particles. Well, photons is light. It's like light. Electromagnetic wave, like light. And particles, you can just to think to little balls. So, light, so let me say, has no mass. Particle have a mass, okay? And to study what? To study atoms, molecules, and compounds. You can say, one of you can say, yeah, well, I know. But it's not the same for all. So, this is the periodic table of elements. Some diagnostic techniques are able to detect just which element are present, for example, in a pigment. But the paintings are composed also, but not only elements, also by molecules or compounds. So, when we apply a diagnostic tool, we should be able to detect molecule, compounds, and atoms. And other than the scientific tools that I showed before, some of them are able to detect or just atoms, or compounds, or both. Well, let's start with some, I will show you, as I told you before, just some example. Here you can find, here, just in the bottom on the right, you can say, for example, we are scientists, so we need to make publication about our results. This is just mentioned the journal or when it was published, and here money are important for research. So this is, for example, just the first examples about to protect. We say, first of all, we should understand what is the problem. Yeah? So, understanding degradation phenomena. This is a project that we got a couple of years ago, and was founded by DTC Lazio. The project was called Adamo, and we investigated several kind of material. This is a parato, it's a gilded and painted leather. There was taken a little sample from this Parato di Cordova to understand the darkening of this Parato. So why, moving in the air, this Parato is going to be dark? What is the chemical or physical process involved? I should first of all understand what is the problem, and then we can try to fix the problem. So we observed the tarnishing in particular. So it's really interesting for you. It's obvious, but for me it's a new matter. So the realization technique, this kind of appears as a gilt and painted, something golden, but there is no gold. It's a technique realized using leather, then some organic material, but under the layer you can find the silver leaf, silver, not gold. And then on the silver leaf you have a yellow paint. This is just a trick to simulate a golden surface. So here you see, oh my God, there is all gold. No, it's not gold. It's a silver, but painted with a yellow paint. But what's the problem? The problem is that gold has no oxidation. Silver, as you can see by your ring or your hairs, silver can be tarnished and become black. So if you have a crack on the surface of the paint, other air pollutants can go inside and then start the degradation process. And the silver leaf that was used to give brilliance, to give shining, a shining material, then became dark. And this was the problem. Well, let's move to another example. Don't care about this. No matter. It's another technique. Just to say, this was an example even founded by the Ticci Lazio. This is a gilded brooch found in the Tevere, or in English Tiber. This was found in the Tevere during some drainage of the Tevere. And so this gilded brooch was underwater for hundreds of years. And it started, it's a metallic compound, just a few examples about different material. It's a metallic compound that was starting to degrade, not so much, but you can see here, there is here detachment of the gold cover. This is real gold, okay? So, but what is the material under the gold? It's not all gold, but we have just a coverage of a copper. Copper is rame. Just to give you something, I give you some detail in Italian just to say that you follow me, okay? So there was a chemical process that it's called tumore del bronzo. So it's copper alloy tumor. And what it means that when the copper, metallic copper, just this one. So here have you all the elements. This is the copper, metallic copper, okay? When this metallic copper is in combination with other elements, for example, oxygen again, or chlorine, or other compound, it change shape and volume. So you have gold and copper, but when it combines with the oxygen, it changed its volume. So start to grow, and then you have the detachment of the gold part on the top. So unfortunately, it's called a tumor because you know that the tumor is start to growing in your body usually, and it's something like this. Well. And what we observed, a lot of chemical analysis that are so really interesting and so on and so forth. But, for example, could be useful in this room could be useful to know the gilding technique. And we understood the gilding technique observing such kind of black spot here. This is an image using a scanning electron microscopy. So these are nanometer holes. What suggests you? Do someone of you work on metals? No. No, okay. So because I saw in the website that there are some teachers and that work on metals, where a gilding technique, one of the gilding technique, it's called fire gilding. Fire gilding is mixing gold and mercury to have a kind of amalgama. Then you can use the fire to evaporate the mercury, and then you have a coverage of the gold, so pretty homogeneous on your artifact. But if you put your artifact in the water or under the heart, so you have that, this is just an open door for everything, okay? So, again, gases or other material can go deep inside and can change the chemical composition of the substrate. So what is down? Well, so let's try by myself. No, let's skip this, too much chemistry. Okay, so just a couple examples to say what is the disease. And then now we know what is the disease. We need a drug. What is the drug? We are able to make, I'm a chemist, and my group is able to make the synthesis of nanomaterials like sponge that can be used as a storage of corrosion inhibitors. So we can use such inorganic compound like a sponge, and these are corrosion inhibitors. We can use such compound in a kind of paint, transparent paint obviously, and we can use with a spray coating on surface of metal artifact. Such compound are able to release the inhibitor corrosion day by day, preventing corrosion phenomena, okay? Another example, this was a project recently founded by PNRR. This is the collaboration with the Museo Nazionale Etrusco di Villa Giulia for the protection against the biodeterioration. So because they have a lot of, this is a very, very beautiful mosaico that stays just in the middle of Villa Giulia, but there was a biological attack. We did the synthesis of inorganic material, but with inside a kind of biocide, biocida in Italian. The biocide is a material that can contrast the biological attack. So we can use this paint with organic compound or eco-friendly compound, and then this paint can protect for several years this manufacture. Well, no. Well, the next step is, well, we protect. We understand the problem and we protect the artifacts. But sometimes it's also interesting just to make research, just to understand something, just to understand the painting technique, the fabrication technique, which kind of pigments were used, which kind of binding media in the painting it was used. Just for research, just to know, just for our knowledge and your knowledge. Okay? It's not just to protect, but also just for knowledge. Well, here we can use some of the previous technique to do the so-called chemical imaging. What is a chemical imaging? It's just an image. But in this image, you can, so please follow me on this point because the next slide are also focused on this time. The chemical imaging is just a picture. But in this picture, we have the distribution of the chemical elements, just like this. Okay? So, this is a Giorgio Vasari Coronation of a Virgin, is a pen and black chalk drawing on a yellow prepared paper. This is someone that work on paper? No? No. No one of you. Okay. So, it's possible to, also in this case, to understand what is the fabrication process for such kind of artifact. So here you can see the chemical elements. And here there is the distribution of the chemical elements. So, as you understand, if I say you, for example, so please look to see this image, this one, is related to lead. Lead is piombo. What do you think about this? What do you say? If I ask you, if I say, this is the distribution of lead, quella è la distribuzione del piombo, cosa capisci? Yeah, good. This is the right answer. So there is no one here, no one here. Here there is a lot of lead. This is the right interpretation of this image. Well, so we have the distribution, we got the distribution, but what the information? And this is your rule, I can say, here I found lead, here I found copper or titanium. And then I can speak with you to understand why there was lead, why? What is the fabrication? In which step lead or copper was used to realize that artworks? So, speaking with art historian and restorers and so on and so forth, they told me that iron was used to prepare the substrate using yellow ochre. It's called goethite. Then calcium and sodium carbonate was used for paper treatment. And copper was used as fungicide. So because such kind of paper artworks are mostly and very frequently subjected to the attack from fungi. So this such of compound, copper 8 kilonylate, it's used against the proliferation of fungi. And lead and titanium probably that if you say was used just in some spot where probably this was a starting point of contamination. Or this, just a few steps back. This information was obtained using the X-ray. Okay, do you know X-ray? X-ray were used also in medical imaging. We used, this technique is called XRF, X-ray fluorescence. Okay, but the take-home message is X-ray were used to understand the chemical distribution of single elements. Well, we changed the technique and we used photons, infrared photons. To make this, it's quite hard to see. I hope you can see. This is the image of this head, and you have the same distribution here. Can you appreciate? Can you see? Okay. This is the image of the, if I remember good, should be this one. This one? No. Probably. Oh no, for something like this. Okay, there's that. Well, What is that? We used infrared photons to find the signal of ferrogallic ink. Ferrogallic ink is a kind of ink that was used to make the draw. But we also found black chalk, gessetto nero. So, what we understood, that the first approach, the preliminary draft, so il primo tentativo, was done by using a gessetto nero, black chalk. Then, the finalization was used using this kind of ink, inchiostro ferrogallico. And let's move to, I will spend more than one slide on this we used X-ray also to investigate, not for the first one, but the third one, La Fornarina di Raffaello. I was really lucky to do this. And we have organized inside the project of Regione Lazio. Also, this project was founded by Regione Lazio to INFN to realize an XRF systems. And we were ready to start with the measurement when, if you remember, just few days before COVID time, to do this happening. This happening was a really, really important time where the people standing in the museum can just attend to the measurement. So there was an happening at Museo Nazionale di Arte Antica, Palazzo Barberini Corsini, where the Fornarina di Raffaello was removed from the clima frame. The clima frame is just a frame. Yeah, it's not for you. I don't know if it's not for me, for sure, for the first time. It's kind of frame, but it's completely closed. In with air, no water, no oxygen, or so. It's not true. No, there is oxygen, but there is no change in temperature. There is no change in relative humidity. It's kind a sealed box. È una cornice sigillata. Actually, if you go to Palazzo Barberini Corsini, you can appreciate this Fornarina di Raffaello inside a frame, but you cannot see that that frame, it's closed, completely closed on the back. It's not open. Well, and we were lucky because for one of the first time after around 20 years, 20 years, this clima frame was removed because the Fornarina, if you remember, Costanza was moved to London. And so this was the right time to make some chemical image. And we found a lot, so I can talk, just made a speech just about this, but we found a lot of stuff, a lot of information. So the first measurement was done in 1983. And this is just an X-ray, as you expect. X-ray, when you broke your leg, you can use X-ray to make just the contrast. How to work X-ray, just to know. If you have light elements like carbon that is in your skin, the X-ray goes straight ahead. If you find something more strong, chemical elements more strong, like your bones, X-ray were stopped. So you have such an information. So, in your opinion, what can stop the X-ray in this painting? Or just some one of you? Do you have idea? Right answer. Yeah, it's a different ink, and in particular, the composition of different ink. But this is just an image. we have no information about the pigment. The reply of your colleague is right, but we have no information about was the chemical composition of the ink. Then were performed in the same time, X-ray were used for not just an image, chemical analysis. But just one point. You can, like a gun, you can just shoot and have an information about the element. And there was taken 15 sampling points. So 15 points were just selected here. So shoot what the element, here, 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 and there. 19 sampling points, okay? So I have just the information about the chemistry. So main results for this analysis of this time, there is the presence of arsenic, probably relgar was used to realize the red, and then lead or tin yellow or Naples yellow because the presence of this tin and antimony, and so stop. After other 20 years, in 2000, the number of sampling points was increased. So again, let's make some other chemical measurement, just 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 here, but the results are quite the same. So here, on the left, you can see that using X-ray, they observed and suggested that there was a change to the landscape. Here you can see. And then the art historian had explained me that it's called verzura. This was the first time that I listened this term, this word, verzura. Okay, they called this verzura. And there was a change in the background. So if you see now, it's quite black. You can see just few details about the background and the landscape. So please, yeah, give me when some minutes are. Okay, I run. Fine. Okay. Okay. So the next step is there was the change to the left arm, this one. So they supposed that the left arm was moved, okay, from here, right to left. There's something that it's interesting. Okay, the left arm was moved. Then, let's call what we did. These are the results. And this is an image of all the painting, but the distribution of the elements on all the painting. So, such kind of measurement employed around 15 days, 2 weeks, day by day, working for 10 hours day by day. During and in the meantime, people attending to the museum collection, moving through and asking, oh, what are you doing? Oh, so interesting. So also, as you can see, also the BBC came for an interview. But the most important thing is the people attending to the collection of the museum can pass and ask, what are you doing? You are a scientist. What are you doing there? What is the information? It's destructive or non-destructive? This was the first thing. So, well, I gotta go. Sorry, this need to go. Just some highlights. This is the distribution of calcium, strontium, and iron. This suggests the preparation of the wooden support, because the support of Fornarina, it's a wooden table, okay? We revealed that the preparation of the wood table was used the gypsum. And again, sorry, I gotta go, I gotta run. This is the distribution of lead. And the lead was the pigment used that give contrast, because lead, il piombo, it's really hard and is able to stop the question for you is, what is the pigment that contains lead? White, yeah, but which pigment? Do you know bianca? Bianca is a white pigment based on lead, that it's used to give the white. And it's used not just to, can be used, for example, just to give a color more clear, okay? So you can mix it with red, with a green. If you would like to move to a dark green, to a light green, you can add bianca. So this is the distribution of the bianca, or lead pigment. And here you can see that we found 2 here, smaller. What is the suggestion? The suggestion is that in the previous, just at the beginning, Raphael realized this ear smaller than the real one. The other stuff is this black hole is the absence of white pigment. So the art historian was suggested that Raphael, the first attempt was to realize the painting just as frontal. Then he left the eyes in the same direction, but just turn a little bit on the left, moving from frontal to 3/4 view, just like this, leaving the eye just in front of the person that was looking the painting. Well, go. Oh, I'm out. I'm sorry. Well, this is the distribution of mercury, and this is the pigment, and we found that the arm was not moved, but was just shaded, ombreggiato. Non era stato mosso, ma ombreggiato. This is the distribution of gold. So Fornarina has an armband here where it's wrote Raphael Urbinas. This is one, so Costanza, you are one of the signature of the artist. Raphael Urbinas. And someone supposed, no, it's not gold. We found gold here. You can see in the picture, the wall picture, here. Sorry, moving to the PDF, it's not a high resolution, but it's an armband, un bracciale al braccio. It's did by gold painting, gold, real gold, not yellow painting. Well, again, so this is the turban, yellow turban. What you say, if you look here, yeah, if you look there, what you say, the turban is made which color? If you would like to describe the turban over his head, what do you think? Cosa pensi? Come è stato fatto quel, se dovessi descriverlo, come è fatto quel turbante? Sì, sì, come è fatto? Questo qua. I colori utilizzati? Giallo, sì, questo purtroppo i colori non rendono bene, però vedete righe gialle e blu. Questo è quello che tutti pensavano. So the first suggestion was that the turban was stripes of blue and gold, blue and yellow, blue. No. We found the distribution of copper and in particular, copper and zinc. Copper and zinc revealed the usage of azzurrite. Azzurrite è un minerale blu. Però miscelato allo zinco diventa un verde. Okay? So the first attempt of Raphael was to realize the turban all green. This was the first attempt. And then he added blue stripes, okay? Sorry, the yellow part. So let's move to the other one, and he changed the idea. And we found also a pentimento. This was a pentimento because here, in the distribution of lead, we found, you can see here, you can see this part. This part is a velo, that was on the back, but then was covered. Here disappeared. This is a pentimento. It's called pentimento. And then, sorry, I don't show you. There is another interesting. We talked about it with you before about every such kind of painting is a story. It's a story. There is a really interesting story for the people working in art historian, in particular on Raphael, regarding a ring. There was a ring here. A ring because probably this was the girlfriend of Raffaello. And this ring was then covered because probably they would like to sell this painting to other person. There was a very interesting story about this ring, but I cannot talk about this because it's a kind of secret still now. Well, few slides. I'm at the end. Just few spots about our activity. The project before was founded by Regione Lazio, and then we founded again with other money, with these two, to increase the system that we used before with a profilometer. Sorry, this one. How to use a profilometer? Profilometer gives the roughness of the surface. È quello studio che fate voi, per esempio, con luce radente. Cioè quando, sorry, I speak just few words in Italian, quando mettete con luce radente un quadro. E perché lo fate? Per studiare la pennellata, che è proprio il campo vostro. So we use a digital profilometer to study the brush stroke, so you can study the artist technique with brush stroke. So you can have at the same time the chemical distribution, but also an image of the brush stroke. So here they can work scientists and human scientists. Okay? Oh, we work also on the aging of pigments because the pigments can degrade in time. So in our lab, we also studied the degradation of some interesting organic pigments. So we make something like an artificial aging of the pigment. So we realize few sample, it's kind of mock-up preparation, and we put on the glass, and we can put inside a climate chamber in the condition of UV aging using a special lamp. We can make a kind of aging. And you can see here, for example, this is before and after the artificial aging, un invecchiamento artificiale accelerato. To understand how the pigments can age, we are at the end. This was another project that we received money from Europe for the digitalization, but I would like not to spend, because I know that there are a lot of people that will talk about the digitalization. Just to say that we work mathematics and 3D to make the reconstruction of, in this case, the project was founded to make the reconstruction of archaeological pottery. And the last one, but I think the most difficult, is we work also in the Laboratorio del Falso. The world of forgers and the fake artwork, it's really hard. So we discussed it before about this. It's really hard to say if this is a fake painting or a real painting. So, however, we have also a research line that based on the to use the science against forgers and fake artworks. in particular at Roma 3 University with the Laboratorio del Falso, and my lab and my group is strongly involved in this laboratorio. And here are some of my collaborators. There are a lot of people working daily, are PhD student and postdoc and researcher from different parts of the world. So in particular, we have Agnese, Eleonora. Eleonora is the chemist and make the synthesis of material. Agnese works on the diagnostic and the aging of pigments. Where is Valerio? Valerio is the leader of the cultural heritage group, and he works on diagnosis and make some analytical work with analytical techniques. And then we have Giulia that is working on 3D maps of profilometry, and so we are a lot. And all the other guys work on chemistry and physics and from different parts of the world. And these are the acknowledgement about the institution that we collaborate. I don't want to spend a lot of time about this, but there are company, institution, museum, and for sure I forgot someone, so for sure. And so last thing, we are on, because it's important, we are on social media. And we try, even in this case it's hard because there is a dedicated person to do this, but we try to move our new research, new funds, some news on our website. They are on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, just to say that we are online and we try to disseminate the science to all the people. Thank you. Someone of you have a question or curiosity? In Italian, I know it's better, don't worry. You can do in Italian and I will reply in Italian and English. Beh. L'ambizione nostra è, in realtà, è cercare di, sembra strano, ma più che da un punto di vista nostro di ricerca riguardo alla chimica e la fisica, c'è quello di creare una sinergia col mondo delle scienze umane, che sembra una cosa scontata, ma non lo è. Se voi pensate che il DTC Lazio è in piedi, il DTC Lazio è quella, diciamo, l'infrastruttura più vicina a voi, perché nasce a Roma dall'unione di Sapienza, Tor Vergata, Roma 3, INFN, CNR ed Enea. E ora si è ampliata ancora di più, sta inglobando altre entità, sta inglobando l'INGV, sta inglobando altri enti, musei, l'ICR. L'idea è nata forse 15 anni fa, quindi si cerca proprio di creare un ambiente il più omogeneo possibile. Poi la politica, insomma la parte di realizzazione è un po' più complicata. Però quello che vi dicevo prima, la maggior parte degli scienziati tendono a parlarsi addosso. E se vi posso dire la verità, anche gli storici dell'arte, dal lato loro, tendono a parlarsi addosso. Che significa parlarsi addosso? Parlare ad un pubblico ristretto, con termini ristretti. Io ero una volta, mi hanno invitato a parlare al museo romano, si chiama Museo Nazionale Romano, e c'era una persona che io, giustamente da ignorante, non conoscevo, un critico dell'arte, forse sbaglierò, che si chiama Strinati. Quindi una persona importante. E sentivo le ragazze, bravissimo, bellissimo. Però io, che non ero del ramo, no, bellissimo, una persona anziana, per questo è bellissimo, nel senso che ha raccontato questa storia di Canova, mi sembra, una statua su cui c'era stato tutto un dibattito. Però usava delle parole, io a volte non le capivo, parlava non in inglese, in italiano. Allora, se io utilizzo parole, ed era un ambiente misto come siamo ora, dove c'erano scienziati e dove c'erano... Allora, se io utilizzo delle parole che capisco solo io di chimica, e non sto mettendomi allo stesso livello, cioè io ora sono qui, ma in realtà dovrei parlare qui, giusto? Perché se io utilizzo parole che voi non conoscete, io sì, ho fatto la mia presenza all'Accademia di Belle Arti e poi me ne vado. E cosa ho lasciato a voi? Niente. E diciamo, questo è, diciamo, negli ultimi anni questa è la mia missione in generale, cioè cercare di, purtroppo ovviamente io non sto più in laboratorio, purtroppo per me, però come avete visto c'è un sacco di ragazzi, quindi io cerco di scrivere gli articoli insieme a loro e fare disseminazione, che è forse è quasi più importante, perché gli articoli servono per la nostra carriera accademica, ma poi rimangono ad un numero ristretto di persone, mentre invece poi quando si parla tutti insieme vengono idee, vengono collaborazioni. Già qui, venendo qui, ho incontrato più di una persona con cui ci possono essere collaborazioni per il futuro. Però se io non vi trasmetto un messaggio comprensibile non vi arriverà mai niente, voi non, magari qualcuno di voi o qualcuno che a casa, magari uno dei 42 presenti, 45 presenti, potrà avere un'idea su qualcosa o una curiosità. Qualche altra domanda? Sì? Posso, perché siccome l'argomento è interessante, voglio, magari a casa non sento.
Scusi, diciamo hanno formato anche schiere di restauratori che tra l'altro lavorano un po' in tutto il mondo con queste metodologie. Un esempio, c'è un restauratore, si chiama Giuseppe Mantella, grazie all'analisi chimica dei pigmenti utilizzati da Mattia Preti è in grado di sciogliere un nodo della storia dell'arte, cioè quali opere siano state realizzate a Napoli e quali a Malta, perché nei pigmenti c'è una sostanza che sta a Malta e quindi lui la usa quando dipinge là. Ecco, era per fare degli esempi e dire che è nella tradizione italiana e vedere come voi interagite con questa tradizione e con questi istituti. Grazie.
Allora, la risposta è, c'è una risposta politica, chiudo poi. Sì, di troppo. No. La risposta è ovviamente c'è una risposta politica e una risposta. Allora, purtroppo voi sapete che l'ICR, parlo per l'ICR che conosco ovviamente molto meglio rispetto all'OPD con cui collaboriamo. L'OPD è un'eccellenza, ha tanto personale comparato all'ICR, e l'ICR non sta, da quel punto di vista che lei menzionava, non sta vivendo un periodo florido. Io sono costantemente in contatto, diciamo, con i chimici, più che altro essendo un chimico, e i fisici, e la situazione non è semplice, proprio perché c'è l'idea di demandare alle università la parte di ricerca, mentre invece, come diceva giustamente lei, c'era un'eccellenza e c'è tuttora, le persone che stanno all'interno con cui io collaboro, è un'eccellenza nella parte di diagnostica, anche perché loro vivono all'interno di quella dimensione e sanno cose che noi non sappiamo. Stessa battaglia sto combattendo per una classe di laurea che si chiama Conservation Scientist. I Conservation Scientist è una figura, diciamo, nata in Italia, una classe di laurea dove ci sono ragazzi che hanno studiato sia storia dell'arte che chimica che fisica, e sarebbero delle figure ottime per questi ruoli e non sono ancora riconosciuti. Purtroppo da un punto di vista politico ogni direttore e in generale ogni linea politica porta delle sue conseguenze, a volte buone, a volte meno buone, dipende. Si sono sicuramente favorite figure differenti rispetto a quelle scientifiche e insomma l'ICR si sta combattendo molto per integrarle. I nostri rapporti sono ottimi, collaboriamo nell'intento mai di sostituire, ma solo di integrare. Questa è la cosa più importante.
Thank you very much to Luca Tortora and to the many suggestions he gave us. And to synthesize, the problem was he was talking about the integration between different languages. Art history sometimes does not communicate with science and vice versa. So this is in general terms to synthesize for the our public, English-speaking public.